Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Molly. Today we are making a simple chocolate pie with pudding. We will be making the pudding and we'll be making the whipped cream that goes on top. So what you will need for this is a baked 9-inch pie crust. I have a regular pie crust here. It is baked. You can use a graham cracker crust for this or any type of crust you want. I traditionally have used a pie crust, but feel free to go with whatever you want to go with. Let's get the pudding made and then we'll make the whipped topping. Okay, so we want to mix in the cornstarch, sugar, salt. You just want to whisk those together. And then we're going to pour in our milk. And our heat isn't even on at this point. So just whisk this until it's smooth. Now we're going to turn our heat on to about medium high, and we're going to let this warm up. Once it starts to warm up, then we'll add our chocolate, and we're going to get this until it's nice and thick. Make sure you whisk it constantly so that it doesn't burn. And the original instructions say to do this on top of a double boiler. I'm not patient enough for that. If you want to do it in a double boiler, go right ahead. Okay, the milk is starting to boil, so it's going to happen pretty quick now. So I'm going to add my chocolate in and get that melting. And I'm using unsweetened baking chocolate. And it will look grainy and like it's not coming together for a while, and then it will all come together and look smooth and chocolatey in like a matter of a couple seconds. So you just have to trust the recipe. So this is still pretty liquidy. So we're just going to wait and it will start thickening up. And now you can see what I'm talking about. You can see the specks of chocolate. It hasn't fully melted. It's thickening up, and it will happen pretty quick. You'll see that chocolate will melt. Now you can see that the flecks of chocolate are becoming less and less, and it's becoming a more cohesive chocolate pudding. You just want to keep whisking until all the flecks of chocolate are gone. Okay, now we just add our vanilla, and I'm just eyeballing that because if a little is good, then a lot is even better. So mix it in, and now I'm going to cover this with plastic wrap, and I'm going to stick it directly into the fridge to cool down, and the plastic wrap will help it from forming a skin. So we'll put this into our baked pie shell when this is completely cool. Okay, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so to make the whipped cream, you will need heavy whipping cream, a little bit of powdered sugar, and a good squirt of imitation vanilla extract. You can use regular vanilla extract if you want. I just happen to have that. And then whip it up until it has stiff peaks, and make sure you don't make butter. Okay, just to give you guys an idea, this is about as stiff as I make it. Kind of like that. Stands up in a little peak. Okay, let's assemble our pie. Okay, so I just want to reiterate, my crust is cool, my pudding is nice and cold, and obviously my whipped cream is cold. Now, you don't have to make your own whipped cream. Traditionally, we make this with Cool Whip. I just thought I'd be a little fancy today and make my own whipped cream. But Cool Whip is definitely acceptable. So you just put your pudding in your pie crust, and you see it set up nice. Now this pie holds its shape pretty well when it's cut. And to me, that's always important. I like a pie that holds a pie slice that holds its shape. All right, so I've got my pudding in here. And it's delicious. And now we put the very generous amount of whipped cream on top. This pie is always a winner. And if you didn't want to make your own pudding, you could use Jello. I'm not going to judge you for that. If this video does nothing, at least it may inspire you to make a very simple pudding pie. And Jello, there's nothing wrong with it. Dan's grandma, she was the one that always made this pudding. She made it with Jello. And it was delicious. Jello and Cool Whip, it was delicious. And here we go, we're done. The whipped cream is a little sweet, but not too sweet, and I think that's perfect. So once you have assembled your pie, put it back in the fridge until you're ready to serve it. Obviously, it needs to be kept cold. So in it goes. Dan and I officially have no shame. The crust is the best part.
I've given up on life and switched to pie.
Well, at least it's legal. I made a chocolate cream pie and it has a pudding filling. So the recipe that I did today was for the pudding and for the whipped cream topping. Now, this pie was inspired by a pie Dan's grandmother Ruth used to make. Hers was basically the exact same thing, except she was a 1950s housewife. She used Jello chocolate pudding for the pudding and Cool Whip for the top, which is totally acceptable. Completely. That's the original.
Yeah, apparently it was my brother Jason's favorite.
I thought it'd be fun to make my own chocolate pudding and to make my own whipped topping, and I made my own crust. Pudding recipe comes from the Woman's Home Companion cookbook. This is from 1944, and they call it a cornstarch pudding because obviously pudding can mean several different things. So this is a cornstarch pudding, and it was really easy to throw together. It didn't take much time. The whipped cream recipe was something that I just kind of came up with. Pretty simple. I like the contrast of the not terribly sweet whipped cream to the sweet pudding filling to the kind of crispy crust. I think that's really nice, and this is like one of my favorite pies. It's a delicious pie.
Yeah, it was good.
What more can you ask for? What more could you ask for? It's super easy. You could bring this to any sort of event. You'll be the star of the show. It is a simple, delicious pie. And you don't have to use a regular pie crust if you don't want to. You can use a graham cracker crust. You can make a crust with chocolate cookie crumbs. I think that would be really good with this. Chocolate on chocolate. A little chocolate on chocolate action is perfectly acceptable.
Whoa. Whoa.
I love this pie. I make this pie probably 2-3 times a month.
It's a good pie.
It's a good pie.
She doesn't make it 2-3 times a month. You don't?
No, sometimes I do. Don't discredit me. Grab the pie. I made this yesterday, and between the two of us, that's how much is left over.
Yep.
It's a good pie. I will include the link to the pie crust recipe that I used, and I will also include a link to my absolute favorite apple pie recipe. You have got to try that apple pie recipe. I didn't like apple pie until I had that apple pie. That apple pie is delicious. Don't be stingy with the vanilla.
Game changer.
Game changer. Apple pie, game changer. It is stinking good. Well, if you like this content, if you want to see more recipes like this chocolate pudding pie, then please subscribe and hit the like button. I upload new content every Wednesday and Friday, and Dan and I are always here taste testing vintage recipes. Aren't we, Dan?
Yes.
I hope to see you guys in the next video.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.